Thanks for joining me. Have you ever felt like you were being surrounded by the pressures, the stuff of life? Have you ever been in a situation where maybe family members were giving you some grief or just things seem to be building up and mounting up, the pressures of life? There's no question that you felt that way before, and I've certainly felt that way a number of times in my life. I was thinking about David, the king of Israel. At one point in his life had to flee from his own son Absalom, and we can read about this in 2 Samuel chapter 16. But his own son Absalom was actually getting full of pride and wanting to take over his father's kingdom and was willing even to kill him if that was necessary to become the king. And so David knew of this in the great army that Absalom had built, and David began to run away. Now, you could really call this a stressful time in David's life. And maybe we've never had anything to that degree, but we've certainly had a lot of challenges. But in the third Psalm, we see the writing of David. And I was reading this, and this is David speaking to the time. He's speaking to the Lord to the time of him running from Absalom. This is right at the very time that he was running from Absalom. And you can read this psalm. It's only 8 verses, but there's one verse that stands out that I wanted to focus on, an anchor verse for us today. And it's simply this. David said, I was crying to the Lord with my voice, and he answered me from his holy mountain. That's verse 4. I was crying to the Lord with my voice, and he answered me from his holy mountain. You know, during the most stressful times of my life, the times when I cried out to the Lord and just pleaded his heart, in every case, the Lord answered. The Lord gave me wisdom, gave me direction. And this is what he is going to do with David. David said that he has answered his prayer. So he knows what he's going to do. Now, the seasons in my life as a Christian that I've been wayward and not praying and not seeking the Lord, that's when I made my biggest mistakes. That's when I stepped away from God's will and still bear the scars of that in many aspects of life. And so I would say to you that if you feel like you're surrounded by stuff, if you feel like the pressures of life are getting worse for you, then I would encourage you to pray this prayer and just cry out to the Lord. Tell him everything. Tell him the circumstance, even though he knows it. Just plead the heart of God. Ask for wisdom and direction and allow him to show you what you should do. That would be the righteous thing to do. That would be the godly thing. That would be the praise-oriented thing that you could do for the glory of God.